I mean, generally you don't. It's half-truth. There's definitely a higher proportion of weird or scary fuckers than a normal retail shift. But after a couple of months on the job, you learn all the archetypes. The dead, tired norms on their way home. The herds of teenagers on a candy binge. The meth heads who waste their entire month of food stamps on junk. The wine moms. The 24-hour gym rats. The alcoholics on bites because of their DUI who panhandled $2 for malt liquor. It doesn't take long to see it all. And I've been here for years. Long enough to see what I call interesting. Even when your threshold of abnormal is off the chart, you still end up with the stories of the inexplicable or unnerving. I'll start with the latter. One autumn night, a man and a boy of about 9 came in around 3. I yelled a half-hearted greeting and barely glanced towards them before back to my phone. The boy makes a slow, cautious walk towards the candy aisle, while his dad makes a beeline to the beer coolers. I can tell by his body language he's somewhere in between the scale of unfriendly and angry. Shoulders forward, brisk, stompy steps. I sigh, anticipating an argument. I've had many times. Last call was 2. I can't sell you that. He glances back at me and moves wordlessly down the wall, selects a tea, and heads to the counter. The way he walks gives the impression he's going to punch me. I ready myself and try to disarm him with a monotoned, "How are you doing?" He hard stares at me for an uncomfortable few seconds and says, "Pack of Marlboro Reds." Relieved he didn't start whining and bargaining about his beer, I turn back to him and grab the cigarettes. I jump with a start at the yell of, "Jack, fucking hurry up, man!" I turn back and look past him to see his son at the candy aisle. 1,000-yard stare, not really trying to make a selection. The first real look I've had of him tells me that the tears he's fighting back wouldn't be his first of the day. I ring in the smokes and tea and say nothing, hoping it would resolve itself. Dealing with the shit I see on a normal night, I've learned not to meddle. To no avail this time, as he tosses a grimy $10 bill for his incomplete purchase, and not 20 seconds after the first time, yells, "Jesus fucking Christ, come on!" That's enough to stop my interest in customer service. Graveyard is an interesting dynamic. Obviously, we're supposed to have the smiley, welcoming personalities all clerks are expected, but also, I'm here alone, and also need to give off an air of security. Cross certain lines, and I stop being friendly. I say, "Hey, relax," in a low tone. He turns back to me with the same intensity with which he yelled and answered. "What was that?" He can take 2 fucking minutes to pick the candy bar he wants. You're invalidating any points you'd score for buying him one in the first place by being a dick. You can shut the fuck up too. I tell him we're done here, grab his purchases out of his reach, and push his money back towards him. As I do, I notice the bill has blood on it. Then, I notice his knuckles on his right hand are bleeding. Old caked blood, still oozing. Now I'm sure this could get physical. I'm a solid 3 inches and probably 40 pounds larger than him, but who knows what crazy he has in his pockets. Our brilliant company policy doesn't allow weapons, but I keep deterrents conveniently placed in reach. I position myself to grab the pry bar and tell him, "I bet your boy would like to leave now. He can keep the candy." He gives me the same long unsettling stare and replies calmly, "I'll be right back." I didn't stick around to see what he had in mind. I ran and locked myself in the back office and dialed 911. I felt a little stupid describing a run-in with a man who could just be an asshole, but I watched on the camera as he re-emerged in the back seat. I described the car to the operator and she asked, did he have a little boy with him? Before I was even off the call, I began to hear sirens, a lot of them. It took a few days and a few conversations with the police before I had the whole story. The response had been to an Amber Alert. Jack Sr. had lost visitation rights to see his son, at the boy's request. Not content with a simple kidnapping, his ex-wife was found unrecognizably mutilated with a claw hammer. The wounds on his hand were splinters from her skull. This happened 6 hours' drive from my store, and I was the first place they stopped. I try not to dwell on what might have happened if Jack had picked a candy bar in a timely manner.